Welcome to Shotgun Sports USA. I'm your host, Justin Barker, and I've talked to shotgun shooters from all over the world in every discipline, as well as coaches, gun clubs, target setters, vendors, and industry-leading companies that fuel the sport. Check us out online at shotgunsportsusa.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Shotgun Sports USA is powered by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Also brought to you by Ultimate Shooting Accessories, Rick Hemingway's Promatic Trap Sales, Sound Gear Phantom, Comp and Choke, Clay Shooter Supply, Clay Target Vision, and Cole Gunsmithing. My guest on the show today has been around this sport for a long time. He is the owner of Coyote Springs Sporting Clays in Tucson, Arizona, and has traveled the U.S. building gun clubs and setting targets. We talk about how he got started in the business, the difference in shooting in the western U.S. versus the eastern U.S., the upcoming 2023 U.S. Open at Coyote Springs, and also the upcoming Southeast Regional. Please welcome to the show, Tim Miles. Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, Justin. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. I got to thinking earlier. I said, I haven't had a gun club from the West Coast, and I don't believe I've had any shooters on from the West Coast. So I guess it's time to get somebody on from the West Coast. And I guess I just thought everything happened Texas East. Maybe that's what it was.
Fair enough.
So I got you on. I want to go over a lot of things with you because you've been in the sport a long time. You own a gun club. You're a gun club builder. You're a construction guy. Your kids are involved in the sport. You've won, and they've won world championships. I mean, the list goes on and on. And for the people listening, I want you to tell them a little bit about what you do and how you got started in this sport.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, so basically, when Gavin was about 9 years old, we were deer hunting from the time he was 5 until he was about 9, and we were out scouting, and we came across a bunch of quail. So we decided that we'd go to the local gun club and shoot some targets to get better at the quail hunting. And we went and shot some trap, and then some old boy talked about 5-stand. So we did that, and then as we were shooting the 5-stand, they said there was a place up north of Phoenix called the Arizona Hunt Club. It was a YMCA ranch. Mm-hmm. And so we ran up there that weekend, and from there it went crazy. The next week, we shot it. I think I won whatever class. At that time, I think they put you in B class when you started, and I won B class, and Gavin, I think he placed like 7th or 8th out of 20. And in 2 weeks from there, I was looking for traps, and I ran into Jim Moses, which he was working for Superior at the time. And so by the end of the second week of us shooting 5-stand, I owned 30 machines, a Freightliner truck, and 12 picnic tables, 12 stations, and gun racks, and everything to set up a course. And every Friday then for the next couple of years, we would pack up and go to, I had 360 acres north of Tucson. Just it's in the Green Canal, basically, is where it is, Red Rock area. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys I was in business with, real estate, we had 360 acres up there. I took my blade and dozer and put in 2 giant courses, and we'd go up on Fridays and pull everything out of the back of the truck at about 6 p.m. And by 10:30 or 11 that night, we'd have the course set up. We'd go to sleep, get up next morning and shoot all day Saturday, shoot all day Sunday, pack it up on Sunday night and go home. And that's how we got started. And we worked at it pretty hard for a couple of years, and then started throwing some small tournaments, and it just grew from there.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were in the construction business before you got into this, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Still am.
All right. And what do you do in the construction business?
Yeah. So I'm actually a general contractor, but the things we do in house, we do all civil work in house. So basically, all all undergrounds, all pad work, all concrete work. I had framing crews up until about 3 years ago, and then that just got to be too much with the gun clubs and everything. So that's our biggest stuff is undergrounds and dirt work and slabs.
And you're talking about gun clubs. You hear a lot about a course designer. This guy's
Yes,
a
sir.
course designer, but you're a course builder. So tell me how this is different and how it works.
Yeah, so basically what took place, just like about anything that we get involved with, you kind of look at see who's doing the best in the world of construction. So that's kind of what happened to me. I ended up with the Caterpillar Proving Grounds down in south of Tucson. So I had the ability to run all kinds of stuff, and as things went on, I just have a good knack with equipment. So as I did all the work with the roads and subdivisions and things, I'd run into a guy that was shooting and owned a ranch, and next thing you know, he wants to put in a sporting course. So it started pretty small. I went and did two in Texas for a couple friends, and it started out being basically roads and ponds and pads for their homes and that kind of thing. And then we incorporated a sporting course or a five stand or a fee task, parkour or parkours, and then it just it grew by word of mouth. And lo and behold, I was designing properties for probably since about 1998, 1999. I'm gonna guess was the first big one that I did. That was in Texas, and then I don't know, I haven't counted, but several states, a couple in Mexico. So it's been a lot of fun. So, and starts out being, luxury stuff for people that want to have a shooting facility on their ranch or their farm.
Yeah. So you said you don't know how many, but
Yeah, I would guess, I know how many I've designed. So I've designed over 35, and we've built, north of 15 from bottom to top. So it's been a lot of fun. A couple rifle ranges too.
mm-hmm.
And that's just, it's like anything. It's start with the foundation and work up. You go get good information, and it's just been great fun for me. I've been blessed in this shooting industry for sure.
Which one stands out the most to you?
I would say probably I did one in Bar Harbor, Maine. It's a little island up by Ellsworth, Maine. And it's called Bar Harbor, and there's 400 acres up there that I built 13 parkours on. And what was interesting about it is the only time I could do the forestry work was January 1st to about April 1st. And the only reason why we could do it then is because the ground was froze, and they wouldn't let you in to do the forestry work because you'd ruin the roots of the trees
Mm-hmm.
with the equipment. So I would say that one stands out the most because when I went in, it was a mile and a half of road that was it ended up being 17, 18 feet finished, started out rough at 20, but I had to remove just a little bit over 10,000 square feet of moss
Good
and put the
gracious.
moss back in when I was done. It's pretty cool. It's really a neat place, and it was on a knob that was overlooked basically the peninsula there. It's really cool. It's a neat place, but that one stands out the most because it was the hardest to do and the most work, but it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
But you really only can shoot it from about July. I'd say July 1st. I usually reset targets sometime in July for them, and then you can shoot it right up to about October.
Having this experience, I guess, kind of led you into building Coyote Springs. Is that right?
Well, yeah. Well, actually, what happened there was we'd been doing our practicing and stuff up there in Red Rock,
Mm-hmm.
and we were shooting the leagues at Tucson Trap and Skeet, and at the time they had 22 traps and they had 9 skeet fields. That's all they had: 22 traps and 9 skeet fields, and they were sitting on about 80 acres. So what took place was one of the board members came to me because during the leagues, all they had were Winchester single stacks. I don't know if you know what that is.
No.
Um, so Winchester had a trap machine that was literally one stack of targets. And if I remember right, I think it held 26 or 29 targets in that stack. And you'd have to load it every time, it dropped, down you're running out of targets. So there's usually one person inside the the house and they were loading targets. So they were having all kinds of trouble with their leagues. You'd go and we'd shoot 25 five stand, and it would take 50 rounds because you'd have broken targets and all kinds of stuff. So Doug Sims, at the time, I think he was the vice president, he came to me and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in coming over and bringing some machines and running our leagues for us?" So that's kind of how it started. And then as that went on, I got on the board, and then I started bringing my equipment in and doing a lot of, if you will, hydrology work for them. And then a couple guys that were members there decided they wanted to be benefactors. And as time went on, we approached the county, and we ended up with another about 329 acres of lease ground, and then we bought about another 80 to 85 acres, I think, surrounding us. And then we got in with the floodplain people, and did all the stuff to make sure that we were legal, and that's basically what happened. And we went from a 22 holer to, we have 50 ATA traps now. We have 13 skeet fields, 5 international bunkers, 6 international skeet fields, and 10 miles of sporting clays course. Just a little over 10. I just put a little more in, but 10 miles of sporting clays course.
That's crazy.
So it's pretty cool.
So
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Describe this place to me. I've never been. So if kind of tell me what it looks like.
Yeah, so it's kind of set up linear. It's about 2.5 miles long, and it's about a half mile wide. And it literally runs east and west.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come in the front gate, there's 50 trap fields on your right. There's a pavilion every 4 banks, I think. 1, 2, yeah, every 4 banks there's a pavilion. There's 5,900 and some odd feet of sidewalk that's 5.5 feet wide. It runs a nice straight long sidewalk, and then all the trap fields are concrete. All the skeet fields are concrete, and it looks really cool. If you see it from the aerial, it's pretty cool. And then on top of that, within that first mile, we have 206 RV spaces, 50 amp sewer and water. And they're about 80% full from October 15th to right at end of March is when the trap season ends. So we usually have somewhere between 130 and 160 units on site, RVers that have to be a life member of the club, and they shoot a lot of targets and they enjoy the winters there. A lot of them trap shooters, some sporting clay shooters. There's probably 15 or 20 sporting clays guys that hang out there. And then at the end of that half mile, there's a road that goes out to the sporting, and then it meanders out there. And there's 9 courses total. They're about 1.25 miles round each. Biggest is 1.75 miles, and we shoot 95 to 98% of all the stuff we shoot north. And a lot of mesquite trees. So our vegetation's anywhere from 4 foot to about 30 foot, depending on where you get into the bosque. So it's a mesquite bosque, basically, is where all the sporting is. And then it's the Southwest Desert, so it's really not. It's not what you would think. It's not sand dunes and that kind of stuff. It's pretty lush for what it is.
It don't sound like you want to get caught out there without a buggy, though.
No, it's a big place, and we've had plenty of guys come in and and ask where it is, and we've got a parking lot out there that's kind of, it's not really centralized. It's kind of it's about a third of the way in the middle of 4 courses right there, but you could walk those courses, but you're going to have a 1.5 mile walk by the time you leave your car and come back and shoot the course. So
yeah,
you don't want to you want to have a buggy. And that's the other thing. We're all the roads are, because I'm in the business, right? All our roads are about 20 to 24 foot wide, all crowned real nice and graveled. I'm a dust freak, so I've got two 4,000 gallon water trucks that run all the time. So we keep the dust down and keep it as nice as we possibly can. And all the sporting, every cage is ADA accessible too. There's a ramp into every one of the cages.
Nice.
So we get a lot of we get a lot of veterans and a lot of disabled people that shoot shotguns. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you were telling me that you could have, what was the last big shoot you had there? 900 shooters?
Sporting Clays shoot, the largest we had is 911 shooters that are open.
Right.
And then I think we just had like 570 or something like that at the um, regional I had this year. But our trap shoots, usually classified, we'll classify about 1,200 to 1,500 shooters at our trap shoots, and we have 2 grands a year. They're talking about asking us to throw a third. I'm not sure that their club really wants to do that,
Yeah.
but they're talking about it, so we'll see. But we're capable of handling about 2,500 people on property without any problem at all. So it's a
Yeah.
it's a nice place
So
for
all
sure.
of your roads run the same way. You're not like going back and forth on the same road.
Right, yeah. So if you're running a course, the course is literally a rectangle, is what it actually is, and so everything goes in one direction. So the only people you see during a tournament is basically the squad in front of you and the squad behind you. That's the only people you actually see out there. So it's pretty. It feels very cozy, but yet it's spread out for sure.
As I said earlier, I haven't talked to anyone from the West. So let's compare shooting on the East Coast versus shooting on the West Coast. And let's start with how much different it is.
I would say the largest difference is and I teach a lot of guys how to set targets. So what I would tell you is the vertical interruption is the biggest difference, because we have, not that y'all don't have sky, because there's lots of places around that have very little trees, but in the West, we've got lots of blue sky and the sun shines. I mean, if you Google it, it's really weird. You can pull it up and it says we have sunshine 340 days of the year. So what that means is, if you start reading all the stats about it, the sun shines sometime during the day for more than 2 hours at a stint in Arizona. But we're blue sky. I mean, lots of blue sky.
Yeah.
So we get to throw lots of stuff up in the air, and that's mostly what we do. 90% of our targets we throw are black, because it's in the sky. It's easy to see for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so the difference when you come to, like, for instance, I'm in Tennessee right now, and the shadows, the clouds, the vertical interruption, the trees, the terrain change, all those things are very deceiving. Like when I redesigned Northbrook with Brett Seibert, very first time I set targets there, and I'm setting stuff, and I get on my rangefinder, and it looks to me like I set a 30-yard crosser, and it's 45 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, holy cats. So again, the depth perception for what you are actually used to is kind of what you feel, right? And so what I like to tell people a lot of times, when you're coming to Tucson, I would grab a hologram book and I would study some holograms, because if you know anything about them, when you sit there and look at it, you can make the hologram come out to you. And then if you close your eyes and you just clear your mind and look at it, and if you look hard enough, you can get the hologram to go in. And that's the depth perception for most people. You don't know which one you're going to get. And you guys in the East Coast, you're kind of hooded in all the time, right?
Yep.
You don't have that big feeling. So when you come out there, it's just different. It really isn't, it's not harder. It's just different. And the same thing when we come to the green stuff and do all that, it really is. It's just different. So, what we do when we try to train for that, I've got a couple spots on property. that we'll go out and we'll water all the time and we'll get it to look green, and then we'll shoot into the trees. But it's hard to shoot in the trees. That's for sure. That's a big difference.
So who do you think has the hardest time? People from the east going west or west coming east?
I'm going to say that's an individual thing, but I would say that we that are used to big open spaces have a tougher time dealing with that strobing effect that you get if it is overcast, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if the target setter is, if he's setting for his locals and all that, they're super used to it. And so if we come in and you get that, you just can't get a connection on the target, right?
Right.
And so they're used to that and shooting, that feel. So I would say it's probably more difficult for the guys from the West, but I've had plenty of guys come to the West and just can't figure out the depth. And I think they make more of it, just like we make more of it when we get in the trees. I think you make more of it in your mind. So I think it's individualized.
Yeah.
It really is.
The most
Yeah.
people that come out west shoot in front of everything.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Just about everything. And they're typically bigger targets in distance perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah. So you're hosting the 2023 U.S. Open at your place. I know it's a good ways out, but do you have any plans in mind? Do you have anything you can tell us at this point that may influence someone to come if the tournament's not on their plans?
Yeah, I would say that we've been doing this a while. We take great honor that we've got the opportunity to throw the shoot, and it's Southwestern hospitality. We do anything and everything we can to make it enjoyable for everybody because it is discretionary income, right, Justin?
Mm-hmm.
So, and if if you talk to people that've been out there and all that, hopefully we get real good reviews from everybody. And then we will be throwing the Matrix. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I have. Explain that though. I have.
Yeah. So Joey Wright and I, back in 2000 and I want to say it was 18, we started messing around trying to get something that was exciting and that didn't take something from the shooter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you hit and then if you don't hit the first target, you don't get the second target, that kind of thing. And then the biggest thing was that we were trying to get it so you're never out of the game. And that's kind of what the Matrix is. So it worked out real well. We were going to debut at the regional in 2020, and then my regional got canceled. Actually, it wasn't a regional; it was a FITES Slam, I think. So that got canceled. So we just put it off, and I had all the stuff. I had the stands made, all the flagging, and all the stuff was done, and it was palletized for 2 years. And I just lost interest, if that makes sense.
Right.
So then we were throwing the regional, and we talked a little bit. He goes, "Man, you should really throw that." So I called Eddie Vigil and Gene Warner, who are a couple guys that work with us when we do shoots, and kind of ran it through them and gave them all the rules and all that. And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." And it's we had a little film, little Hugo Soul did a little filming on it and all that. So it's on I think Facebook and YouTube both, and it's had a lot of hits, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. We had a good time.
How does it work? Is it easy to explain?
Yeah, it's easy to explain.
Okay.
And you can pull it up, and it's called Shoot the Matrix. You can just go up and pull it up, and it'll come up. And so basically, your first round is report pairs. So you shoot the 1, 2, the 2, 3, the 3, 4, the 4, 5, the 5, 6, and 6, 7, and then the 7, 8 report. And then that's the first round. Second round is the true pair round, which is 1, 8, 2, 7, and then et cetera, right, all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, you get whoever's in the lead gets to call his pairs. There is one catch to all of that. When you call your pairs, the person that's behind can call double down on the pair you call. What double down means is, so let's say the guy calls a 3-5, and he hits the 3-5, he's going to get his 8 points. But you can say, okay, I'm going to double down, which means it's a true pair, and you have to hit both birds, and you get double the score. If you miss, you get 0.
Okay.
So you could actually gain 16 points right there.
How many times can you double down?
You can double down on each time you're behind, but you can only double down on the pair that the gentleman called ahead of you.
Okay.
That's why it makes it like, for instance, if a guy calls a 6-7, the only way you can get that double down is if you hit that 6-7. And obviously they progress in difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
So the 1 is the easiest bird. The 2 is about the same difficulty. 3, then 4, 5, and 6 are about the same difficulty. And obviously 7 or 8 are harder. But when we say harder, they're just more technical. And so it runs really fast. It shoots in about 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes max. And so as we run it, we'll have 2 shooters in, and then there'll be a handler for the next 2 shooters. So there won't be any time lapse. When those 2 shooters come off, next 2 shooters are on and they're shooting. So it's really cool for the crowd. And it's amazing. If you watch the video, you'll kind of get the feel for it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
And you're never out of it. Yeah, you're never out of it. So it's kind of cool.
So what else are you going to have going on there at the U.S. Open?
So we'll have, I don't have all the stuff in front of me, but obviously we'll throw a new style fee task,
mm-hmm.
which will be 100 birds, and that'll be on our 12 par course. So all 12 par courses will just be one. There'll be, it'll be new style. So there's 3 pegs or 4 pegs, depending on how many entries we get. Once we get past 700, we'll probably go to 4 peg. So that'll be, 4 peg new style par course, and so that'll be 16 shooting positions. So that'll run. I can get to 1,100, 1,200 shooters through that if it gets to that. And then obviously the main, there'll be 3 mains, and then there'll be a 100 bird super sport. There'll be all the sub gauges, and then obviously the 100 bird 5 stand. And then there'll be 2 matrices set up at all times, and then we'll have a whole 10 or 11 station practice course too. So
is Julia helping you with this shoot?
Yeah. So I like to call them the A team. So
right.
Basically, score chaser. We helped Casey a little bit with that, and being the guinea pig and all that. And so score chaser is part of the A team. Joey and Melissa Wright. Joey does all my IT stuff. Works with Score Chaser also. Melissa does a lot of the advertising. Then Julia Gilman, she works with Joey and Melissa, and they put together, the local colleges, high schools, and stuff like that for our trappers. And she's helped us a lot in all our stuff because we throw 8 million targets a year, and we throw probably, I would say there's about 3.5 million targets registered in trap. I don't know how many in skeet, maybe 100,000, maybe. And then sporting, it depends on what big shoots we have, right? So
mm-hmm.
we probably have somewhere north of 300,000 registered sporting, unless we have a big shoot, which will, like the U.S. Open. I think, you'll register about 500,000 targets at the U.S. Open. So she's helped us with all of our trappers across the board. For instance, we've got a grand that comes up in November, and I'll need 70 scorers for that, plus all of the loaders and all that kind of stuff. So, when we're bringing in, and, if I've got to load 6 semi trucks during that shoot. So it's just a production, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, Julia does a great job helping us get all the qualified help that we need, and it's been pretty good. She's done a great job.
You're now in Tennessee, like you said earlier, setting up for the Southeast Regional.
Yes, sir.
Do you find it a little strange or a little difficult setting a course in the woods like we were talking about? Most of Cross Creek is in the woods.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what happened was Joe called me. Joe Calabrese,
Hmm.
he's the owner, and then Melissa is the manager, and then Joey helps out with the IT stuff and the score chaser and all that. So, and obviously we're all great friends, but he called me and asked me if I'd come set the Night Stalker, and I said, yeah, that'd be great. So I came out and set the Night Stalker, and you know, it is a real job to make sure that you have a target that's the same competition target at 9 o'clock in the morning and then at 5:15 or 5:30 at night. And you really got to work at it hard. So obviously there's an app on the phone we use all the time called Sun Surveyor, and I've been using it for years. And I tell people all the time, you really got to pay attention to that. Well, most of the other courses, other than Tucson, you have to shoot every direction. You just don't have the luxury of the space that we have.
Right.
And so that's hard enough in itself. And then you add the woods, and then you add the weather, um, and the sun being at a different angle on every station, and then the shadows. And so the visibility is a huge thing. So when I set on a four-tier thought process, and my first is I got to be safe, which means in every aspect. Um, of the game and where the shot's going to be, where they're going to point their gun, and where the shot fall is, all that good stuff. And then you have to entertain people, right? And then everybody has to get a fair go, period. Everybody, from that 36-inch tall kid to Greg Ostertag, one of my students, he's 7'2", right? And yeah, I mean,
Wow.
he's a big dude, man. Well, you know who he is, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
He played basketball, and he comes out and shoots all the time. It's awesome.
He's the only 7'2" guy in sporting clays.
That's probably true. That's awesome. But so everybody has to get that fair go. Well, when you're putting all that stuff together and then you're doing it in a different light condition every hour, yeah, it's hard. And you can get by, but I'd like to think that I'm a study of the sport, and I'm kind of nuts in the fact that I really take it seriously that everybody needs to get the fair go. So what's going to happen in most places if you do that, you're going to get to where, you know, distance has really nothing to do with what you're doing. Um, I try to keep it in this environment. I'm trying to keep everything I'm throwing between 25 and 40 to 45 yards at the absolute outside, because the depth perception is really different, at least for me.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, and then like Brett Seibert will be laughing when he listens to this, because there's a lot of dome set here because the belly's invisible. It just is invisible. I don't care how you throw it, anything you do to it, it casts its own shadow, and it's just really hard to see. And let's face it, you may or may not know this, but in every shoot, we do the statistics to see where our largest clientele is. If you go back and look at our US Open, 63%, this is insane. 63% of the entries were in one concurrent or another. Think about that. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, the largest concurrent is veteran. Okay. And so those are the older guys. And this is what I find really different in the woods stuff is, as these guys, when I see them over here, they just are really used to this because the old guys shoot this wood stuff really well. They just do. And it's just amazing to me because they're the ones that say they can't see stuff, right?
Right.
And so I think there's a lot to um, how people approach the game. That's just my opinion. I think you can gut yourself before you get there by worrying all that stuff, right? And frustration, or you can be upbeat and I'm going to go do the best I can possibly do and get my PB out of this, man. And so I think that has a ton to do with it. Well, I think the target setting is the same way. I came here to do the Night Stalker with the full intent to learn everything I possibly could about this place and you know how it changes every hour all the way through. And so it's been fun. I enjoy it. I will say it's, I don't want to say it's harder, but you really, really have to pay attention. But I'm more used to setting in the West, right?
Yeah.
So it's just different. But you got to be very attentive. That's for sure.
Well, the regionals in another week. So
Yes, sir.
kind of give me a rundown of what's going on at the regional and what people
Well,
should expect.
yeah. So one of the things I would say is Joey and Melissa, along with Joe Calabrese, he's you know, they're part of this. We're all in the Sporting Clays game. So this place um, that they manage over here and they've helped Joe put together, it's just really cool. It's a what I would say it's very unique in the sense that um, it's cut in through the woods, not as many trees taken out as a lot of places would go in and do a bunch of forestry, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of shade throughout the courses. It's very picturesque, I would say. Has a great feel to it. And I was concerned 4 or 5 weeks ago because they hadn't had any rain, and like everybody, right, y'all have just been dry.
Right.
Well, I can tell you that it's rained every day I've been here, and they had it has, and they've had probably I don't know the last 3 or 4 weeks it's been raining, so the place is as green as I've ever seen it. Everything's groomed up real nice. Um, I've got lots of parking. There's three great big fields of parking, and they got separate trailer parking. And we've got actually they're going to throw the Matrix here, which they asked me about 3 weeks ago. Say, hey, can we throw the Matrix? And I said, oh, great, have at it. Anybody can throw the Matrix. So they're going to throw a Matrix game. They've got a nice vendor row up there on the concrete. You've been here before?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So up there on the concrete that's out front, there's that's where all the vendors will be, um, and then there'll be a big tent out in a little bit to the south of that, and then there'll be the big bowl for the Matrix, um, and then there's practice courses up on the what would be the northeast corner of the property. It's up on the highest piece over there. There's eight station practice course up there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's uh it's a it's nice and cozy gun club, but it's all groomed nice and neat, and they've got the traffic flow all figured out, and all the parking and trailer parking and all that. So it'll be good for
Yeah.
sure.
It's one of the nicest places down this way. And the clubhouse is really cool.
Yeah, I
Behind
agree with that.
the clubhouse, they've got the covered porch with tables that you can sit on or, eat. And,
Yeah,
the parking part of the parking lot, I was going to say, if vendor row's there, I've never seen a vendor row in a concrete parking lot. No, that'll be a first.
yep. Not even in Tucson do we have that. That's for sure.
So it's really nice. And the cart paths, from what I can remember, are they paved?
No, they're a they. I got to remember the product they call here. It's like it would be like a 57 rock where I'm from, but it's a
Asphalt?
yeah, it's kind of an asphalt crushing, but then
Yeah.
they spray it with a calcium chloride, and it keeps the dust down and all that. And like right now, everything is. I mean, there's obviously no dust, but there's no standing water either. So they've done their job here, grooming everything and getting it up. And I didn't have anything to do with grading the roads and stuff in here. I've done some little bit of maintenance here and there for them,
Hmm.
but I helped in the big parking field there. I helped grade that a little bit this early this summer. Back in I think back in February I came, and right after it was right after the regional, so it would have been April 1st. So I came over here like April 3rd and graded that parking lot up for them, and cleaned the rock and stuff off of it like that, because they forestied. I want to say it was 11 acres they completely cleared next to that 6 acres they already had for the big parking. So it can hold about 700 cars up there in that big parking lot. And the lower parking lots can hold Oh, I would say a couple hundred trailers a piece plus trucks and that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
there's quite a bit of, yeah, it's, yeah, as far as a place goes, I don't know if you were ever to Elk Creek.
No.
Did you ever get there
Nope.
before I think they might still be open. It's in Kentucky, but I would like it to Elk Creek, the setup and the way the parking was and the courses and that kind of stuff. I'd say it's a lot like Elk Creek.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
Joe,
it's a lot like
as you know, Joe, he'll put on a show now, and
oh baby.
he don't mind spending the money to get it done either. So, uh,
Boy, it's amazing. I agree.
yeah,
Yeah,
he will
I agree.
definitely put on a show. That's for sure. I got a
Yeah.
question for you. It's kind of off topic.
Sure.
You're known as the man in black, right?
Yes, sir.
You always have on black. Every time I've seen you somewhere, you're shooting. It'd be. I remember seeing you in Mississippi at
Yes, sir.
at that hot place where it was 615 degrees that day, and you had on black pants. I don't know if it was black shoes. You probably had on black shoes too, and a black shirt, and a black hat. What's up with
Yes, sir.
all the black?
My working career started when I was about 6 years old, and they weren't afraid of child labor back when I was growing up. So, um, so throughout my career of working, I ended up uh, becoming a carpenter when I was about 16 years old, and then I worked through the summers and in with the Amish, and then we trimmed in the wintertime. We trimmed inside and all that. So I left where I was from to go to Tucson when I was 19, and then I went to work for a guy named Don Kodecker out there, and so I ran a framing crew out there, and we would basically frame everything, and then there was a guy that was in the company, and he'd be the guy that came and nailed off all the roofs and all the sheeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because the guy was super fast at it, and then his name was Al, and they called him Al the Nail. Well, Al the Nail was in black, and he's the dude on the roof. He's the dude on the sides. He's walking on stilts, nailing everything off, and he's in full on black. And we were sitting at lunch one day, and I got my blue jean shorts on, and I got my white shirt on, and my white hat, and I'm just getting roasted. Right, my skin just turns. I just get burnt.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, so I was talking to Al, and Al, he never was sunburned ever. And I asked him, I said, dude, why do you wear black all the time? He goes, it absorbs the sun, doesn't reflect. So I thought, what the heck? So I started wearing black. I think I was 20 years old when I started wearing it, and wore it ever since, and I don't sunburn. So you cook, the white reflects, black absorbs.
Yeah. So you must like being hot most of the time.
I do. I run pretty hot.
Yeah. I just wear it to
Yes, sir.
try to look thin. So,
That's awesome.
but
That's
anyway,
awesome.
Tim, I appreciate you coming on, man, and talking with me for a few minutes and
Sure.
going over, the East and the West and what you've got going on for the U.S. Open and the regional coming up, and look forward to seeing you and look forward to shooting your targets too. So,
Yeah, it's going to be fun. This game's been really good to a lot of us, and there's a lot of people that put their time and their effort and their intentionality into this sport to make it what it is, and fastest growing sport out there, that's for sure.
yes.
And we enjoy doing it, and we need more people to do the things like you do, and I know there's a few other guys doing some things, and
Right.
like this year at the Nationals, I know they're doing they're filming that Super Squad stuff and all that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things when I go and I put on a presentation for either a city, a county, a village, or a municipality on someone wanting to do a club in their uh, in their area. One of the things I tell these people, and this is just fact, shotgun facility is the best kept secret in your backyard, guaranteed. And like in Tucson, we're one of the largest facilities in the United States, and people 2 miles away have no idea it even exists. If you go into a grocery store or whatever, and somebody's talking to you, and they see that gun on your shirt or whatever, and you go, "What's that?" "Oh, it's Shotgun Club right over here." "What?" and it really is. So, I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate, what everybody else does,
Mhm.
because in order for a gun club to exist, it has to have membership. In order for a membership to have membership, it has to have gun club, right?
Mhm.
So, we got to kind of work together, and it is just a super amount of fun. Well, I should ask you, do you have fun shooting a shotgun?
I do. Yeah, I like shooting it.
Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, dude, well, that's the whole thing. Everybody, I mean, anybody that ever shoots a shotgun, I've never had anybody say, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's no fun,"
Yeah.
right?
I don't know why I'm doing
It's
this. It's
just
terrible.
well, it's an absolute gas. It really is. It's a fun sport to do.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, no, and we love doing it for sure.
that's right. Thanks for your time, like I said, and we'll catch you up next week or so at Cross Creek.
Cool.